as I understand it, parents watching this show right now could have sent their child off to school this morning under the complete belief that that child was a boy, OK, and was identifying as a boy. And then they can find out on parents' evening, presumably, that that child of theirs that they gave birth to and lovingly raised for the first 10 years of its life had been changing its gender to that of a girl for the last year or so in school, potentially, without the school bothering to inform the parents?
Well, often it's not even that the parents are finding out at parents' evening. In some cases, the parents are not finding out at all because the schools are just not telling them. We've had several examples of parents who've contacted us where their children have been transed effectively at school, and they've only found out much later when they found out from their child, or the child suddenly announced that they are going by a different name. Some children have been going to school, and the schools have been facilitating them, allowing them to change into different uniforms and be identified by different pronouns at school without telling the parents at all, which is terrible.
Why aren't they telling them? Because if it's all about, I'm sorry, but if it's all about child health care and child mental health and child well-being and all of this stuff, why on earth would you encourage them to live a lie at home?
Because the schools are being advised by external organisations who are telling them not to contact parents and telling them to keep secrets from parents and telling children to keep secrets from parents. It's all coming from external organisations who have this as their policy.
And I am concerned that there's a wider push here about the breakdown of the nuclear family, and a deliberate one. Because if we take it back to its root cause here now, you have children at nursery schools essentially being shown drag shows. You've then got parents unable to opt out of LGBTQ+ events at the school. You've potentially then got someone who is not a child psychologist or therapist coming in to talk to them about whether or not they've been born into the wrong body. You've got people on Twitter making, it would appear, a lot of money out of telling kids to talk to them privately one-to-one and to go no contact with their parents. And you've now got schools also not telling parents when their child is at least saying that it's going to change gender. Is there something more sinister going on here?
Yes, it's not even that it's happening sort of in secret. That these organisations are quite plainly saying what their agenda is. You've got organisations like Educate and Celebrate that's in hundreds and hundreds of primary schools, and their mission, they're open about it on their website, their mission is to smash heteronormativity. They're saying that's their mission statement. But the problem is that the Department for Education has been funding these organisations. They've been spending money on Stonewall. They've been giving money to organisations like Educate and Celebrate to go into schools and to spread this message. So it is sinister. There is an underlying current and an agenda to break down the traditional family. That is what these organisations are trying to do.
If your son or daughter got into a fight at school, you probably want to hear about it. I know I would. The same would apply if they were being bullied or falling behind in class. Clearly, parents have a right to know what's happening in their children's lives, so they can offer support in whatever way they can. So what about if your child decides to transition to another gender? You probably want to know about that, wouldn't you? I've had 4 kids. I'd want to know. But it turns out that a shocking number of schools in Britain think you, as parents, have no right to know that. Children are being allowed to change their names, their uniforms, and their personal pronouns, that dreaded phrase, using different toilets and changing rooms without their parents having a clue about any of this happening. Just 39 of 304 schools investigated by the Policy Exchange think tank said they informed parents if their own child said they wanted to change gender. In many cases, parents only found out when they got a letter in the post citing their child's new name and new pronouns as a point of fact. Think about that. That's how the parents found out their kids had decided to change their gender and their name. Most school surveys said they're actively teaching the contested theory that children may have a different gender than their biological sex. This is completely outrageous. It's policy driven by fear of the woke mob.
If a child identifies themselves with a different gender at school than they do at home, does the school have a constitutional responsibility to tell that child's parents? That's the core of an argument that started here. at the Great Salt Bay School in Damariscotta, and it's one that's already gained national attention. Amber Levine of Newcastle is suing the school. Last December, Levine said she found a chest binder used to flatten someone's breasts in her 13-year-old child's room. Levine says the school either provided it or helped obtain it. Then she alleges she learned the school began using different pronouns and names for her child, all without telling her.